Hello, welcome. So let's start with this one. This is Angular.io/API page. It's a list of all things that can be imported from Angular packages. There are over 500 items in that packages, in 28 packages, and that's a lot of stuff. How many of you can say that know how to use at least 90% of the stuff? Oh, we have Angular core here. Okay, so maybe 60% of the stuff. Man, come on. So let's end with 30% of that stuff. Okay. Once again, my name is Kamil Gałek. I'm front-end developer at SoftwarePlant. In my private time, I'm trying to do a little bit of open source. But this one is not important today, because today I will show you a few things that I find out to be very useful. And what is important, I didn't find it in any tutorial, just in the docs. All these things will be somehow connected, and I think that everybody here knows how we have to deal with, after the component Bootstrap, we have that component lifecycle subject, and it's probably the most popular subject in the world at the Angular conferences. So we will focus at the period of time before component Bootstrap, and let's call it platform and app start. Just before we start, first things first, of course. First of all, you have to forgive me my language skills. It's my first session in English. You know, I'll try to do my best, but sorry in advance. Second of all, presentation will be quite short. So if you have any questions, please come to me at the SoftwarePlant stand. I'll try to answer all your questions, but after the session. And the last thing is that if you want my code examples or some slides, everything should be here. So take a photo of this one slide, and it should be everything you need. So let's go. First of all, I want to show you our example app. We have some GDPR dialog, as always. We have some data, but remember, data is not important today. And it's a regular Angular app. In fact, it's quite important that it's not one app. We have 4 independent apps. We have header app, main application, widget application, and of course, footer application. And this one is important. Every that app have to receive from server some properties before starting. The second thing is that we have actually 2 widgets. We have companions like this one, and the second one is the activities. And after reloading our page, we will get that second widget. Okay. So let's start with first thing that I have for you. It's a platform initializer. As you see, we have not a lot of documentation here. And we know that it's injection token from Angular core package. It should have a value of function that return void. And we know that that function will be executed when the platform is initialized. And this is tricky. When the platform is initialized, we can say that platform is initialized when it's ready to bootstrap a module. So actually, we can execute some code before starting our apps. And if you remember that first thing from our example, every app has to get from server some properties to start. And I'm using for it platform initializer. As you see, we have use factory function, and after getting that properties, we will bootstrap our modules. And of course, you can use vanilla JavaScript or jQuery to do this thing, and it will work, of course. But look at this one. It's regular. It's Angular, so we have dependency injection and all these cool things from Angular. So for us Angular developers, it's a lot easier to write this one. And what is more important, probably the most important thing in the IT, it's easier to maintain it. So if you have to execute some code before starting your apps, I think that platform initializer is the thing you should know about. Okay, so let's go to the second thing. And I'm quite sure that everybody here knows how to bootstrap a component from a module. We just put this component here in the bootstrap section, and Angular will do its magic, and bam, we have a component on our screen, and everybody is cool. But what if you have a problem that requires from you bootstrapping one of 2 components conditionally? The most often solution for that problem is probably copying the whole module, replacing that Bootstrap section, and after that we can conditionally bootstrap one of the modules here. But we can do it also with the Bootstrap interface. So let's check it out. We have the Bootstrap in an API, and we know that it's a hook for manual bootstrapping of application instead of using Bootstrap array. So we can take control of our bootstrapping process. For the first side, it looks like just a lifecycle hook for module. So as you remember, we have that widget situation here, that we have two widgets, and we can change one widget to another. And I'm using for it the Bootstrap interface. So let's check it, the widgets module. And as you see, it's quite simple. We have that Bootstrap method. We don't have the Bootstrap section of ng module because it's exclusive and we don't have to keep this one. And after that, with properties from app initializer, I'm bootstrapping one of two components, and it just works. And you may ask me why the copying and pasting that module is wrong. And probably on every conference in the world, you will hear about writing a cleaner code, a better code to become the best programmer as you can. And as I know, copying and pasting is not a good thing. It's really probably the worst thing that you can do. So if you have to take control of your Bootstrap process, the Bootstrap is especially designed for it. So take the Bootstrap, implement it, and everything will be fine. So maybe the next thing, and the next thing is app initializer. So let's start from the doc. Initializer. And as you see, we have, again, not a lot of documentation. In fact, it's pretty similar to platform initializer. We have only one word here of difference. So it's, again, an injection token from Angular core package. And function from that token will be executed when application is initialized. And once again, application is initialized when it's ready to bootstrap our component. Not a module like in platform initializer, but a component. And we know that this function should return void. And this one is not totally true, because as I know, app initializer can return a promise. If it returns a promise, app will wait for that promise to resolve and then continue our bootstrap process. So it's quite like promise all. It will wait for all app initializers to end. Okay, let's back to the example. You have to know about my widgets one thing, that every few seconds I have to update my data. And it's quite simple solution. I'm just taking it from server in interval. But this process has to start somewhere. And of course, I can start it in ng on init of my root component. And it will work. I've done it many times, always worked. But in fact, it's not the responsibility of that component to start that process. So instead of starting it in my root component, not this one, I'm using for it app initializer. And now I can say that my data fetching starts with app, not the component with app. What's more, we don't have to care about issues with multiple components of same type, because this app initializer will execute only one time. Okay, and once again, if you ask me, I really like to keep my components as dumb as it's possible. So it's easier to use it, it's easier to develop it in future. And when I can take some responsibility from that component to a module, I will do it. And probably I will use the app initializer for that. Okay, so maybe the last thing for today that I have for you, and it will be Bootstrap listener. We have more docs for this one. We know that all functions provided via this token will be called for every component that is bootstrapped. And it's the first difference between App Initializer, Platform Initializer, and this one. App Initializer and Platform Initializer will execute only once. This will execute as many times as you bootstrap a component. And look here, we have symbol button. And when I found this out, I was very interested of usage of this thing because I thought it's not as useful as it should be. So I decided to see more, and this was not helpful at all. We know that we have a component ref in our arguments, so we can do everything we want with Bootstrap component. And when we are back in our example, you maybe remember this dialog from the start. To display this dialog, I'm using App Bootstrap Listener. So let's go to the code example, and we have GDPR module. And here we have provided App Bootstrap Listener. I'm taking from that component, that Bootstrap component, its view container ref, and I'm dynamically creating that component. And you can ask me why I'm not putting these 3 lines in, again, root components, ng on init. It will work, of course. But look here. When we check the usage of the GDPR module, we have only 1 line. We need only 1 line to start our feature of GDPR dialog to work in every app. Nothing more. There is no magic, absolutely no magic. And if you ask me, it's, again, cleaner solution for my problem. And I think this is what Angular is about. Modularity. I have one module that have its own components, own behavior, own data, and I don't have to care about it. I'm just importing it, and it works. Okay, so let's back to the slides. And after all, you can ask me, what is the order of execution of all these things and how it works with lifecycle hooks, with constructors of components? And I think it's quite simple. First of all, we have to start our platform, so we have to execute platform initializers. After that, we are ready to bootstrap a module, so we have to construct it. And of course, services if needed. After constructing our modules, we are ready to bootstrap components, so it's time to execute app initializers. After executing app initializers, we are ready to bootstrap a component, and we then can take this process via bootstrap array on ng module or do bootstrap interface. And again, we have to construct our components because we are ready to do it. After constructing our components, we have to execute first cycle of lifecycle hooks. And after that, we can say that our component is fully bootstrapped. So if we have bootstrapped component, we have to execute app bootstrap listener. And after that, we can say that our app is running, so it's not the scope of this session, because we are focused on that platform and app start, not the rest of Angular. And once again, we are at the Angular.io/API page. It's a list of over 500 items that you can use. And I wanted to show you the best way to learn this stuff very efficiently. But I can't, because I don't know how to learn this stuff very efficiently. I've learned all those 4 things that I showed you by exploring Angular source code. So if you have an idea how to learn this stuff, please call me. I want to know it. And I think you can ask Todd Moto for it. It was totally his presentation here. So, once again, if you need my code examples or slides, everything is here. And after that, That's all. Thank you.